I Saw the TV Glow is a 2024 American film written and directed by Jane Schoenbrun and stars Justice Smith and Jack Haven. The plot follows two lonely teens that bond over a TV show and the escapism that it provides both of them. This is Jane Schoenbrun's second feature length film, following We're All Going to the World's Fair from 2021, which I really plan on checking out. It's been recommended to me a couple of times over the last 6 months or so. But I had to watch this one a few times before I felt confident enough to review this kind of very, very polarizing film. I'd actually really been wanting to see this since it came out. Basically, the trailer definitely spoke to me. You guys know I'm an A24 fanboy. The aesthetics are right up my alley, and really a huge part of the vibe here. As my buddy Mitch would say, this is a vibes movie, very much a vibes movie, which I would agree. And to give you an idea what I mean, almost half of this film takes place in the mid 90s. Making it kind of a period piece, I guess you could say. And for us 80s and 90s kids, we love that shit. The main character's name is Owen, played by Justice Smith, and the film, pretty much the first half of the film, I would say, kind of bounces back and forth between his teen and childhood years. And I am happy to say that I really enjoy both actors. And I liked his performance, I would say, I think the most by far. I mean, there are not a whole lot of actors in this film, but still, I liked his performance. Really spoke to me. I just found him very relatable. And I wasn't really familiar with him at all. I had to kind of look into his past work. I guess he's been in the last few Jurassic Park movies, but I won't hold that against him. Just kidding. All jokes aside, though, I do want to see more of this kind of thing from him. But also, I have to give credit to young Ian Foreman for playing young Owen. Because even though he has far less screen time, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing him. I mean, I thought he conveys, Owen's depression the way that the script demanded, showing us that he has had it from a very early age, where a lot of young actors would have failed with that task, I think. And not to take anything away from any of the actors here whatsoever, but I really have to point at Jane Schoenbrun for guiding the actors through the haze of sadness that hangs over the film. And in a weird way, depression is like one of the villains here. So staying in 1996 for a bit longer, Owen meets Maddie, played by Jack Haven, who is a little older than Owen, but they go to the same school, and they bond over a TV show called I Saw the TV Glow. And this is hands down my favorite part of this film, because it's basically an homage to 90s TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and stuff like that. You get to see a fair bit of it, really, but honestly, I really wanted more of it, and it's kind of one of my complaints here, but it's a minor complaint because it just wasn't ever supposed to be like that. It might just be more of a personal thing where I just really wanted to get stuck in this world for a lot longer. And Maddie is becoming increasingly more obsessed with the show. Even saying that she prefers it to real life, and at times, might even be struggling to differentiate the show from her actual life. I mean, using media for escapism is something most of us do, well, whether we realize it or not. And there are a lot of metaphors in this film. If you look for them, they're all over the place. So Owen is not usually able to watch the show. His parents are kind of strict. He's not usually allowed to stay up that late. So Maddie will record the episodes on VHS tapes for him and leave him in his locker and stuff with cool little notes, next Saturday looks like a mythology episode, and season 2 finale guaranteed to make you cry. I just really love this scene, with the cinematography, kind of the camera following Owen as he's walking down the hallways at school. It was just such a good scene, and honestly, one of the very few happy-ish scenes in this film, maybe the only one, because Owen is a very complex character, very complex. He knows that there is something that separates him from other kids or other people that he knows, but he is kind of unable to truly confront it. He feels empty and he feels broken, and a lot of us feel that way, and it can feel like nobody really understands you. And Maddie is the only person that ever has at least attempted to understand him, or at least listen to him talk. And they formed a bond, not only through the Pink Opaque, which, did I mention that? I don't know if I did. Did I? The TV show they're into is called The Pink Opaque. I think I said it was called I Saw the TV Glow. Yeah, I'm not going to edit that, but I'll just leave it. It's called The Pink Opaque, which is a cool name. But anyways, they also bond over the trauma that they had both endured, at points in their lives when they should have been, protected. They should have felt safe. Now, like I said, there are just a lot of metaphors here, and I do believe some things in this film can be interpreted. I keep doing that. Can be interpreted differently, and I think that was, pretty much by design. It was intentional. And while this film is for all of us to enjoy, anyone could get into this. But I think it will naturally resonate with the lbgtq folks, especially the ones that have gone through things similar to Owen, because this film is an allegory for being transgender. But what I'm noticing as I read more about this film is that how different people interpret it differently, leading to some very interesting Reddit threads. You might want to check those out if you've seen this movie. And I think a lot of people are also resonating with Owen's depression, and the despair caused by like the long-term stifling of your true self, and what it might feel like to have gone through your whole life without ever being who you were meant to be. And that is really, that's existential horror, if I've ever seen it. When you think about it, I mean, maybe trying so hard to be someone else that you forget who you really are, or start to lose touch with reality. And existential horror really is the name of the game here, because it's not really a very scary movie at all as far as any kind of like traditional horror goes. It's an atmospheric slow burn the whole way through. Lots of pink and purple lighting, which I'm always a sucker for. I'm an 80s, 90s kid after all. And it also has that kind of hazy vibe, which is a term I like to use, which on its surface you could say that not a ton really happens in this film, but it has so many layers. It's also very David Lynch inspired, which I thought was cool. And if you're a fan, I think you'll definitely pick up on that too. I think even if I didn't say that, I think you probably would have. But anyways, as much as I am praising this film, it's not exactly what I would call perfect. I did much prefer the first act to probably the other two, because after that it does increasingly become more difficult to follow and more metaphoric. And at points I was kind of unsure what was going on. Like I said, I did watch this several times, which I'm glad I did. And I do also feel like it could have benefited a lot from a slightly better written script. That said, I kept watching, and I've seen it 3-4 times now, and I still think about it, which is always something that I appreciate about certain films. And from what I've read, like I said earlier, this is a very polarizing film, it seems to be. Me though, I'm a fan. So I'm giving I Saw the TV Glow a 7 out of 10. The atmosphere is thick and somber, almost inescapable at times, but I thought it was very effective. It's also kind of a win for trans people, now having a voice in director Jane Schoenbrun. Maybe we can get a Pink Opaque spin-off. That would be so cool. I doubt it'll happen, but that would be awesome. I think that would complement this so well. So I'm going to end this by saying I almost feel like I've done you guys a disservice, because the review that I just gave you was super vague at points, and I think that is a problem I encounter with a lot of my reviews. I'm trying to kind of get better about being less vague while not giving too much away, but this is a very stock review, I think, for this film. So if you've seen other reviews, they're probably better than mine. I just didn't really want to. First of all, I didn't want to spoil anything, and I didn't want to go into, how I interpreted certain aspects of the film. And I mean, there's so much that you could say, and I just didn't want to say too much. So, kind of a stock review. You're probably gonna find some people on YouTube that are doing awesome reviews where they break shit down and are a little more daring and taking leaps and dissecting things and telling you guys about how it makes them feel. And anyway, it's just, I do also recommend watching this more than once. If you watch it one time and you absolutely hate it, I guess you're not going to watch it a second time. But if you watch it once and you like it, but you're maybe a little bit lost, I totally recommend at least giving it a second watch. And I don't say that super often, so I just don't want people to give up on this before really giving it a chance, I think is what I'm getting at. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you at the multiplex.